Poseidon has always been at the forefront of innovation, from making upgraded pistol parts to full-on electric rifles. In continuing that innovation, just as the almighty Greek hero, we have the THESUS. Hey guys, I'm William and welcome to Trigger Airsoft. In this review, we're going to take a look at the upcoming THESUS AEG platform made by Poseidon. The THESUS is the continuation of Poseidon's goal of making a feature-rich package, but at an overall affordable price range. We're going to take a look at the externals, we're going to take a look at the internals, the performance, and cover our overall closing thoughts of what we think of the platform. Now let's get into the video. We'll start with the externals first. As you can see, it kind of looks similar to their previous Avenger or Punisher series. However, there's two main differences to tell the THESUS apart other than the name. The first thing you'll notice is the single row M-lock on the front. The second thing you'll notice is the full polymer rail. Now this achieves two goals. The M-lock itself still allows you to put the accessories or anything else on there that you already currently have. The elimination of the side M-lock, which usually is not used, allows for better rigidity for a polymer rail, and it reduces overall weight on the platform. That is the biggest difference, external difference of the THESUS. Now we'll start with the front, we'll move all the way to the tail end. Front, it'll be your standard 14mm counterclockwise thread, so you can put any sort of muzzle device or tracer units on there. The top has a standard 1913 Picatinny rail with flip-up sights. The sight itself is a post and a peak, so you can just look through kind of like your standard AR style sighting system. The platform itself is an AR platform, so there's a lot of features that'll be similar on pretty much any AR. You'll have your ambidextrous features, you'll have your magazine release. Just as the previous Avenger and Punisher series, the magazine release is enlarged, so it's easier to kind of activate. Now the two biggest differences here is you have an updated ambi selector, especially for lefties. It's a little bit longer, so it's easier to kind of activate. However, it's a little kind of thinned down, so if you're a righty and you're using the selector, it won't really dig in to your fingers as much. So this was a player kind of feedback for Poseidon, for those righty shooters that did not want kind of that like digging in feel with the ambi. So they kind of improved that with the selector itself. The second biggest difference is this thing runs on the Medusa MOSFET system. Now the Medusa, for those who don't know, is kind of their flagship MOSFET system and electric fire control unit made by Poseidon. So that allows you to have programmable features similar to other advanced MOSFET systems. So we're talking about burst mode, binary trigger, pre-cocking, things like that. It can all be accessed either through the trigger, or if you want the full function or the full kind of data set, you can connect it with the app via Bluetooth, which is built in, so you don't need to buy any sort of other accessories. So this thing has the Medusa on it, but the biggest improvement here is actually the hop-up chamber. You'll see that the hop-up chamber is white. The other ones are not, or the previous generations are not. Now, the reason they made it white was so that the built-in tracer unit, yes, this thing has a built-in tracer unit to your hop-up, so you also don't need to buy an external tracer. You could, it'll make it more brighter, but if you don't want to, or if you want to cut down on the overall length, it has it built into the hop-up chamber. But that white hop-up chamber allows better reflectivity when the UV light is being shined in, so it makes it more efficient in the system when it's illuminating that tracer BB, but also takes a little bit less energy from your battery, because everything is powered from your battery. So that's the biggest difference in the hop-up system, just makes it even more efficient than it already is. So 10-inch overall length, you have 4 M-lock slots, so pretty much it'll fit most of your accessories. Foregrip, you get your light or top PEC laser. Iron sights can be removed, so pretty much fully modular in a sense. So that is the externals feature. Now we're going to talk about the internals of the system. We're not going to talk about the internals of the gun. As you can see, we kind of decked it out a little bit here for a simple kind of CQB setup, just to give you guys an idea of something that you can do with it. It's a really good length in general. Before we talk about the internal gearbox, we're actually going to mention the battery compartment. Now, this thing runs a tanker style stock, so it allows for a slightly shorter overall compact size and format compared to a regular buffer tube stock, but still does not sacrifice on the battery compartment. Easy to adjust, and you can also take the entire stock off to get access to the battery compartment. Wire to DINs, as most modern guns are, really efficient. The battery compartment will fit a battery short stick type, about 900 to about 1200 milliamp hours. So we're going to put this back in here. Really easy to get access to the battery compartment, and also really easy to adjust the stock itself. In terms of the internal gearbox mechanism, wired in to the trigger, you have the Medusa EFCS, the electronic fire control system / MOSFET, so that's built into the trigger. This is their advanced MOSFET system, so it allows sort of options in terms of the trigger, binary, different selector modes, the trigger sensitivity. In conjunction with the flat face trigger, it allows for really, really good response when you're shooting the gun on semi-auto, especially for CQB. The MOSFET itself also monitors the current flow and kind of the overall rotation and function of the internal gearing system. So it's kind of basically like your check system. If there's any sort of issues, it will let you know and also prevent the gun from firing to prevent further damage. The internals itself, all metal gears and an all metal piston with a full seal cylinder. So this thing can compress a lot of air. This gun might look small, 10 inches barrel length, but it shoots about kind of that 390 to 400 FPS range based on what our testing is. So this thing can also be used for outdoor or for long range engagements, but also you can downgrade the spring and this thing will be a really, really consistent beast in CQB. Now, with all that said, how does it actually shoot? Well, with that, we're gonna head to the range. So we're in the shooting range now. We have a 1000 milliamp hour 11.1 volt battery running BLS 0.20 gram BBs. Before we actually do the testing, the original magazine is 220 rounds. Now that's a lot of capacity for a mid-cap magazine. Poseidon also sells the mags in a pack of 4. So if you buy a pack of 4 with the gun, that's a lot of firepower. With all that said, let's do a testing and see how consistent this gun shoots. So we're going to test with 10 shots here on semi, 405, 407, 406, 408, 406, 409, 407, 406, 410, 405. Now we're going to do some auto. Now the coolest thing with the THESUS is that internal tracer. We have red tracer BBs loaded in the magazine, and as you can see, we're not running any sort of external tracer unit. We're going to see how well this performs, and for those who don't know, not a lot of tracer units can actually run red, just due to the composition and also just the light spectrum in terms of illuminating red. Most tracers can do green, however red, you need certain specific tracers to either run it or run it efficiently. Now let's take a look and see what the built-in tracer can do. Do some full auto here. Now, I know you guys want to see green too, so we'll do green. So this is green tracers. Ain't that cool? So I'll show you one more cool thing that you can do with the built-in tracer unit. So I'm playing CQB, I'm shooting my white BBs. Oh no, I see the red. That means I'm actually low on ammo and I can do my mag change. We're now back. So for those that didn't notice, what I actually did was I took the magazine, actually loaded it first with a few presses of red tracer BBs or green, and then I loaded the rest of the magazines with standard white BBs. Now what this allows you to do is when you're low on ammo, you'll start seeing the tracers go out and you'll know that you need to switch magazines. Obviously, you can do it with an external trace unit. However, it means you have to get an external trace unit. You have to also make sure that the trace unit is charged, then mount it onto your gun, and then you'll also have an extra length. When it's built in, it's actually running power directly from your batteries, so you don't need any sort of external charging, extra batteries, or an external unit. You don't have to go through all the hassle of mounting one on, and then you get to keep the overall length the same. All you're really doing is just loading the magazines, which is really simple. You just get one loader that you have with tracers, pop that in, then you standard BBs, and you're pretty much good to go. You can still see it during the daytime, and also for indoors, those low light conditions, or even if you have a flashlight, it is very, very noticeable, and it is a really good tool for you to know if you're running low. And you can mix and match however you like. That is entirely up to you. Now, in terms of closing thoughts, what I think about the THESUS platform. As we can see from the Chrono test, the FPS range on average, including full auto, was about 400 FPS. About within that 5 FPS deviation on semi-auto, but otherwise very, very consistent. The trigger response was also really good as well, nice and sensitive, especially for that semi-auto. The overall platform, I think the 10-inch barrel length is a really good length, and that full seal cylinder allows it to perform outdoors really well. And when you downgrade the spring, it's also really efficient with that air compression. The platform itself, really good size. I love the tanker style stock. Battery is really easy, even easier than a buffer tube. And also you don't have to like pinch and push. You kind of just, stock comes out, get access to the battery compartment. Really compact, kind of well-balanced platform. The polymer does not have any give or play. So when you pick it up, sometimes it's hard to tell if it's a full polymer gun or not because it does have weight to it. Put a light, put like a higher mounted red dot, especially for those who wear a face mask for CQB. You still get really good sight picture, and it's just really easy to kind of move. The triangular pattern of the stock fits in your shoulder pocket really nice, and that extension allows for those who prefer a more kind of presented setup to get that kind of cheek weld and also that security in your shoulder. I think this Poseidon is really, really good. It definitely is kind of like a further improvement on what they've already released with the Avenger and the Poseidon. So this is the upcoming THESUS. It should be coming soon. Once we kind of get it, it'll be available on our website and also in store. But this is kind of your guys' first look and our first look at this unique platform. Now for the Poseidon products, we carry a plethora of them. Bunch of different rifles, a bunch of different pistols. They're both online and in store as well. If you got time, if you're local, come down to the store. You can see this in person. We'll be glad to help you out with that. Now that's pretty much it for this review on the new and upcoming THESUS AEG made by Poseidon. But that's pretty much it. I'm William, this is Airsoft, and we'll see you on the field.